G'day travellers, an Aussie abroad here. Come check out Adelaide Zoo with me on this fine and sunny day in South Australia.
I have the day off work today, so I figured, stuff it. Let's go to the zoo.
Adelaide Zoo is Australia's second oldest zoo after Melbourne Zoo, and like other leading zoos in Australia, including Melbourne Zoo, Taronga Zoo and Perth Zoo, it is operated on a non-profit basis. It is located in the parklands, just north of the city centre of Adelaide. The zoo houses about 300 native and exotic species, with over 1,800 animals on site. The zoo's most recent enclosures are in the second phase of the Southeast Asia exhibit, known as Immersion, providing visitors with the experience of walking through the jungle with Sumatran tigers and orangutan seemingly within reach. Wang Wang and Funi are two giant pandas on loan to the Adelaide Zoo. The pandas are on loan for 10 years, as part of a conservation program to protect endangered wildlife. Wang Wang was born on the 31st of August 2005 at the Wolong Giant Panda Research Center in China. His name means net in Chinese, and he weighs 119 kilograms. The female panda, Funi, was born on the 23rd of August 2006 at the Wolong Giant Panda Research Center, also in China. Her name, in Chinese, translates to Lucky Girl. She weighs about 90 kilograms. They were both quarantined on the 21st of October 2009, ready for their trip to Australia, and relocated to Adelaide, South Australia in November 2009. The pandas joined Earth Hour as official ambassadors in 2010. The giant panda's diet is over 99% bamboo. Giant pandas in the wild will occasionally eat other grasses, or even meat in the form of birds, rodents or carrion. In captivity though, they may receive honey, eggs, fish, yams, shrubs, oranges, bananas, or specially prepared food, such as panda cakes. The giant panda lives in a few mountain ranges in central China, mainly in the Sichuan province, but also in the neighbouring Shanxi and Gansu. As a result of farming, deforestation and other development, the giant panda has been driven out of the lowland areas where it once lived. The giant panda is a conservation-reliant vulnerable species. A 2007 report showed 239 pandas living in captivity inside China, and another 27 outside the country. As of December 2014, 49 giant pandas lived inside captivity outside of China, living in 18 zoos in 13 different countries. Wild population estimates vary. One estimate shows that there are about 1,600 individuals living in the wild, while a 2006 study via DNA analysis estimated that this figure could be as high as 2,000 to 3,000. Some reports also show that the number of giant pandas in the wild is also on the rise. In March 2015, Mongabay stated that the wild giant panda population had increased by 268, or 16.8%. In 2016, the IUCN reclassified the species from endangered to vulnerable. Five buildings within the zoo have been listed as state heritage places on the South Australian Heritage Register, including the front entrance on Frome Road and the former Elephant House. Adelaide Zoo first opened on 23rd of May 1883, occupying 6.5 hectares of land granted by the government. It is now 8 hectares. It was founded by the South Australian Acclimatisation and Zoological Society. The society later became the Royal Zoological Society of South Australia after a royal charter was granted by King George VI in 1937. In the mid-20th century, the zoo was involved in the export of live birds, with 99% of Australia's exports of live native birds, mainly finches and parrots for aviculture, passing through either Adelaide or Taronga zoos. At a time when the need for conservation of Australia's native birds and control of their trade was becoming increasingly apparent, South Australia lagged behind other states in passing appropriate legislation. In 1962, a new director of the zoo, William Gasking, was quickly dismissed through the power exerted by the Zoo Council president, on the grounds that Gasking would not cooperate with the bird trade. However, when the president retired, the trade in birds dropped to a tenth of what it had been 2 years before. Since then, the zoo's admin has been restructured and the zoo has regained public credibility and scientific status. The modern zoo has moved away from the traditional housing of species separately in pairs. Now species are grouped together as they would be in the wild, in exhibits that are carefully planned according to region. Enclosures have been designed with the needs of the animal in mind, providing a more natural habitat, which also serves an educational purpose for visitors. Although some of the zoo's heritage-listed enclosures, such as the Elephant House, have been retained, they are no longer used to house animals. The Flamingo exhibit was opened in 1885 and is one of the few to have remained in the same position to date. Originally it was stocked with 10 flamingos, however most died during a drought in 1915. In 2014, one of the 2 surviving flamingos in the exhibit, thought to be the oldest in the world, at 83 years of age, died. The remaining Chilean flamingo at Adelaide Zoo is now the only flamingo in Australia. In 1909, The Strand magazine reported that a snake had swallowed a rug weighing almost 12 pounds and which survived undamaged in the snake's stomach until disgorged almost a month later. The short article featured a photograph of the disgorged rug, which was 5 feet 3 inches long. In 1985, 2 men broke in to Adelaide Zoo and killed 64 animals. On the 30th of October 2008, a 78-year-old blind greater flamingo named Greater was beaten, allegedly by a group of teenagers. 4 teenagers were charged after visitors reported an incident to zoo staff. The male flamingo was left extremely stressed. On Mother's Day 2009, the female orangutan, Carter, built an escape route out of plant material and tripped the hot wires with a stick. After a short while on the outside, she dropped back into the exhibit with no harm done. The zoo has a particular focus on species from the Gondwana supercontinent, which was made up of South America, India, Africa, Australia, and Southeast Asia. The botanic similarities between the regions are featured in the zoo's main exhibits, which include a Southeast Asian rainforest and Australian rainforest wetlands walk-through aviary. The Southeast Asian exhibit combines Sumatran orangutan and siamang together. It also combines Malayan tapir and dusky leaf monkey together. In the past, in fact, almost to the present day, Adelaide Zoo was famous for having the best bird collection and display of all the Australian zoos. The zoo also has a focus on educational programs. There is a selection of get-to-know-the-zoo type tours, a large children's zoo area, and from April 2009, an educational area for secondary students and their teachers. More information on the educational programs can be found on the zoo's website, which I've put down in the description.
To anyone whose favourite part of the zoo is the butterfly house or butterfly area, I'm sorry to say that I'm going to disappoint you because I won't be going there because I'm actually terrified of butterflies and moths.
Minchin House, or the Director's House as it was originally called, was built as a family home for the first director, Richard Minchin. Construction commenced in 1887 and was completed in 1888 for the sum of £1,230. The property included a fenced private garden for family use. 3 generations of the Minchin family undertook the role of director at the Adelaide Zoological Gardens, the role passing from father to son to grandson. And for over 61 years, a member of the Minchin family was responsible for the management and daily running of the zoo.
So I'm back from the zoo, had a really good time, it was a lot of fun actually. Cost me I think $34.50 for an adult. I spent maybe 3 or so hours there, maybe 4 hours. It was a lot of fun, it was worth going to, considering there's not a lot to do in Adelaide as far as tourism goes. And it's actually really close to the CBD, which is awesome. So from where I am, I think it's only a 15-minute drive. From the city centre, probably a 5-minute drive. Battery actually died in the camera while I was there, but you only missed out on maybe, 1/8 of the entire zoo. Back at my Airbnb now, I decided I'd come back, charge up the camera, charge my phone a little bit, grab something to eat for the day, and then I might head out to Himeji Garden a bit later.
That's about all I have time for today, travellers. I hope you enjoyed Adelaide Zoo and learned something new. But now, sadly, I must be off. But I'll catch you in the next episode. And as always, this is an Aussie Abroad, signing off.